Senator Ted Cruz of Texas has come under fire for taking a family trip to Cancun while the weather turned awful in Texas and many people lost their power. He joins us now exclusively by Skype to discuss the situation. Senator, how are you doing?
I'm doing terrific. Great to be with you, Dick.
Good. So what's your side of the story?
Well, sure. As you know, Texas this week has been hit by two horrific winter storms. It knocked out power for some 4 million Texans. Among them was our family. And so we spent 2 days with no heat, no power. And after a couple of days, our daughters said, look, let's go somewhere warm. School's just been canceled. Let's get some friends from school. Let's go somewhere warm. Heidi and I are parents. And so we said yes. And so we booked tickets the next day. We flew out the next day. My plan had been to work remotely as I've been doing, as we've all been doing for a long time in the age of COVID. But I got to tell you, even as I started flying out, I started having second thoughts about leaving just because Texas is in crisis right now. A lot of Texans are hurting, and I think it's important for me to be here physically. And so I ended up changing my flight and coming back the next day. I'm back in Texas now and focusing really on the issues I was focused on before leaving briefly for that trip, which is why the grid went down and how we can make sure this never happens again. I got to tell you, a lot of Texans are pissed off how the energy capital of the world, that we think the greatest state and the greatest country in the world, could lose power and not be able to turn on our lights and our heat. And I think there's serious questions that need to be answered so this doesn't happen again.
I mean, the real issue is that this is the first time a natural disaster has had these kinds of implications because of the Green New Deal. If they hadn't come in and replaced your coal and your oil and your gas with wind turbines that freeze and solar panels that don't work in the clouds, this wouldn't have happened. If they replace your energy with renewable energy, they won't renew.
Well, I think you're right that there are a lot of government mandates and subsidies that have distorted the energy market. You know, Texas is the #1 producer of wind energy in the country, and about 25% of our power comes from wind energy. The questions you're raising are very good questions because during the height of the storms, that 25% dropped all the way down to 2% as the turbines froze as they wouldn't turn. The solar panels, likewise, with the bad weather, were not producing energy. Now, to be fair, other sources of energy also had challenges, both coal and natural gas. When the grid went down, some of the natural gas production plant depended on energy, and so it became a self-reinforcing process. That's why I think it's a good thing that Governor Abbott has called for the Texas legislature to study what it is that caused the grid not to be able to handle this surge in demand and to make sure that we prevent it from ever occurring again.
Senator, I'm glad you came on Newsmax so that we could give you a chance to present your point of view. Sounds perfectly reasonable to me. It sounds like the Democrats are trying to get even with you for standing up for election integrity and for Donald Trump during the last few months.
Well, I got to say, it is a thing how the networks are obsessed about my one-day trip with my family and yet can't somehow seem to cover Governor Andrew Cuomo and the really horrific policies that led to thousands of COVID deaths in New York State, where you've got members of his administration now admitting they were lying to regulators about those policies. I think the news media has an interesting way of assessing what are the real crises facing the country.
Thank you, Ted. You know, you get the truth on Newsmax.
Hi, Emma Reckenberg here. If you like this video, there's a whole lot more to see on Newsmax TV. You can watch for free right here on our YouTube live stream and be the first one here each time our experts break down real news. Just hit that subscribe button, ring the bell icon, and stay with us on America's fastest growing cable news channel, Newsmax TV.